All right, welcome to Talking Investing. We are live, I think, and we're here with George, although I think he's on a conference call at the moment, and he's going to join us when he's done. So, welcome everybody. Hopefully, if today didn't make you happy, then you're not invested in the Bitcoin miners. Let's see, I got, hello Alex, how are you? Money, money, money. Yeah, at last. I got a Mr. Charles. Hello from Ohio. Please let me know your thoughts on the Mawson CleanSpark news. So we'll definitely talk about that one. That was a big development today. Jury, how are you? Martin, hello. Anders, Matthew. I got a holy cow. Holy cow. Martin bought 500 CleanSpark and 500 HUT this week. Nice. Hopefully you caught a bunch of it either before or in the middle of the run-up and not all at the end. Oh, Coinbase was up 11% today. I did not know that. What a nice end to a bad week. Bought some cores today. That's Jury. Time to dollar cost average again. Yesterday was good. And you know, it was hit or miss. There was 4 or 5 that yesterday was unbelievably good for. So, yesterday, what was it? I think it was Riot and Marathon and HUT. This is back-to-back days. HUT was up like 14% yesterday, and it was up almost 12% today. So, obviously, today everybody was up big time. We'll go through the board. It should be on my screen if I'm doing this right. Jury says hello, Tom and George. Hello. Sad Boy says Coinbase to the stars. You know, I feel like I missed my window of opportunity on Coinbase. It was on the top of my watch list, and then it kind of went off, and then I felt like I was going to be chasing it. JD says, hi, Tom and George. What a great day for miners. Yes, and on a Friday of all days. So that was, I just posted a video. You guys can watch it later. Don't leave the live stream to watch the video. That'll be up there all weekend. But I was talking about basically about more big picture on what's going on in the market, because I think good things are coming over the next short period of time, let's say. Hard to make too many predictions. We got a couple of big days coming up. We got some big data points coming out. Darren, hey Darren. Darren bought 600 Riot. Sour Melon Gaming, hello. Do you still think we could see the 17,500 level with Bitcoin? So I'm just going to quickly answer yes to that. I don't think that we're going to, but if one of these data points comes in at a very unexpected number, you know, Bitcoin, I still think we're bottoming out. I think the bear market's over. We're in the bottoming out process, which a lot of people would say is still a part of the bear market. So is it possible? But again, for me, I've always maintained if we get to 17.5, it's going to be on a flash crash. It'll be a candle wick. We will not even close there one day, in my opinion. We didn't even close there one day the first time we got there. We closed at almost 19,000 the day that we candle wicked down to 17,500. And I see that as being the worst case scenario, and I don't see that as being the most likely case scenario. However, when George rejoins us, I'm guessing he's going to have a different opinion on that. NFL comes back, and all is right in the world. Oh, I feel obligated. Sorry for everybody
oh yeah,
in LA.
Bills fan here.
Go
Bills fan.
Go Bills.
Bills fan.
Listen, we grew up right outside of Buffalo and watched them lose 4 Super Bowls, so we're
Bills fan.
We're waiting our turn here. I feel like this year it's our turn.
How's everybody doing today?
Welcome, George.
Hello, everybody. Work. This is interesting, right? We did work. I probably shouldn't air my laundry on stream, but I'm going to. Sorry, guys. We did work. I own a company called emergencywaterremoval.com, and we did work for this, I guess, can I say a homeless shelter? It's a homeless shelter. It caught on fire. We went there, did the work, waited for the insurance companies to give us the okay to do the work, blah, 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 never gotten paid, blah, blah, blah. And we, it's just aggravation, People have to still pay a bill. Or say, hey, can you do this for me for free and at least know that I'm going to do it for free? And I would have, because I'm that type of guy.
I have to interject that with a word from Matthew, who says Josh Allen MVP.
Oh, all the way. If he can get through this year without getting injured, and usually guys like that, they get injured. That's the problem. Because people are gunning for him. You know what I mean? They want to take him out. They want to be the person that, no, I took out the MVP.
Yeah, and he likes to mix it up. He's not afraid to get hit. In fact, he initiates contact. But
hang on a second. You missed something that is near and dear to my heart. Barry, did you start in Georgia on the Appalachian Trail? If you started in Georgia, that's freaking amazing. If you're all the way up in Massachusetts, that's crazy. Do you know what that is, Tom?
I've never been on that Appalachian Trail, but yes.
So basically, you can start. I think it takes. I've heard anywhere it's around 90 days. No, I think it's 6 months. That's correct. And you hike it, and you have like places you can stop along the way, the whole walking trail. And you start in some place in Georgia, and you walk all the way up to Maine.
Does it have internet coverage the whole way?
Almost the whole way.
Does it really?
Yeah, almost the whole way. Yes.
Well, I guess then we could do it.
Yeah. Started in Georgia.
That was going to be my
Congratulations, Barry. Yeah, I know about that. I had a friend that tried to do it, and he went to do it the day the world shut down in 2020. And he's like, I can't do it. I can't do that.
Well,
but Barry, has there been internet the whole way? Supposedly it's life-changing. 1,600 miles. Wow, Barry.
That's incredible.
Dude, that's incredible. That's awesome, dude. That's so great. Has it been eye-opening? At least you don't have to worry about like anything going on in the world when you're on that journey, I heard. That's awesome. Sorry. I don't know if anybody understands that. That is like a feat. How many months has it taken you, Barry? That's just awesome. Okay,
Barry, yeah,
sorry.
And he's been thank you, Barry, for watching you've been watching the videos all along too while you've done that. So much appreciated. Yeah. Let us know where else everybody's from. A lot of times we get a lot of international presence, and it's nice to just know who's here and see what else is going on in the rest of the world. So drop a comment. Benny's saying the Jim Kelly era. That's right. Yep. We went to many of those games. We won all of them except the Super Bowls. So,
Hello, Greg. Greggy Orr. So, Tom, where is Bitcoin going? Let me see some technicals.
I'll give you my quick answer. I think we're going up from here. Not, as always, not in a straight line. But
Germany!
Hey, Germany. I think in my video 2 days ago, I said 4 things have to happen. If those 4 things happen, then as far as I'm concerned, we have confirmed a relief rally. And I think the price target's $25,000. And again, I want to caution everybody, that doesn't mean we go straight to 25,000. We could easily revisit this blue line at 20,700 and the pink line at just under 20,000. So, sometimes we got to reestablish support at those levels, but I do think it's up from here on a bumpy road up to 25.
Oh, California in the house. Somebody's from Washington Street. Oh, that's good.
From Washington Street? That's I know that. That's right around the corner.
Oh, what is your thoughts on the Queen dying? You know what? I'm going to answer that one.
Oh boy.
My thoughts are weird. I don't know. I find it interesting that she died in Scotland. I found that interesting. But I guess that's one of the what do they call them? Territories or province that they oversee, Tom? Sweden.
Don't ask me.
I know, but they oversee like 14 different territories, I guess. Besides
we'll call
England?
them that, and everybody. And let's see, we have somebody from the UK, so Cameron can correct us.
Yeah,
God
it's
save the king. That's right, Cameron. That's the first time anybody's had to say that in 70-something years. Never. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you my biggest reaction to that. First of all, I watched a lot of tributes. I really am pretty ignorant as to the royal family, just to be honest. But, you know, the queen having just died, I did watch a lot of coverage on it over the last 24 hours, and I saw a lot of fascinating things. That's a long life, and you know, she started when she was a little kid. She was giving speeches to the country when she was like 15 years old.
wow.
So it's.
Hang on, Matthew, Virginia. Hey, welcome, Virginia.
But I did think she was. My theory was she was gonna. Her goal was to outlive Prince Charles because she just did not want him to be the king.
Swiss Alps. Wow, nice. You know what? I think that I mean personally, I think we have a good shot to get to 25. I don't think we're out of the woods. I think the next 60 to 90 days are going to be some of the best money opportunities you could possibly ever have in the stock market.
In the next how many days?
60 to 90.
60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Aha.
So I don't think we're out of the woodworks yet. I think there's a little bit more push
So
get more people out.
The next, in general, the next 3,000, you think they're up or down?
The next 3,000 what?
Dollars for Bitcoin.
Oh, up.
Okay.
Yeah, the next three up, yeah. I think right now we're in a good situation where we got the weekend, you know, and I think that everybody's feeling good about Bitcoin right at the moment. But the problem is, here's the problem, and this has been laid out pretty thick lately, is that Bitcoin is not a very clean energy source mining company. And I'm not saying I agree with it or anything. And
FUD.
I know, but that is the FUD that they're using. And I think that, yeah, 25 is definitely, I think very good likelihood it's going to happen. I definitely see 22.8, 22.6, not financial advice. But I think overall, play it smart, play it close. And if you guys want to make money, I would sell as soon as it gets someplace in the 23 range. Because I don't think it's holding, personally. Do you think it's holding, Tom?
You want to get out ahead. I think we're going to take a bumpy road up to 25. And again, you know, situation changes on the ground. We've got some things that are going to happen over the next couple of weeks that could definitely change my mind. We got CPI data coming out Tuesday morning. I feel like this is the least important CPI number in a long time. So I can get into more of why I think that, but I don't think that's what's going to move the needle. But we have the Fed coming out a week later on Wednesday, and the market now has basically fully priced in 75 basis point hike. So I think it was at 86%. So that would be my whammy. The one scenario I could see us turning around is if the CPI number is so bad that they do a 1% rate hike, because I really don't think the market is expecting that at all. They haven't signaled that. They have signaled they're going to do 75, and they're not going to slow down. You guys noticed, I'm sure, Jerome Powell talked for a half an hour, and the market went down in a straight line for a half an hour, but it recovered right after that, and that was just yesterday. So yesterday morning started out, I mean, really down in a straight line. And he said, I don't care about anything. I don't care about politics. I am going to raise rates until we reach our target inflation rate, which is 2%. And as you guys know, wherever we're standing right now, we can't even see 2% from here. So that is a long ways away.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I believe the beginning of next year is going to be a very interesting year. But here's the thing. Yes. Is it GER? Hopefully that's right. I think ETH merger, if it happens, I'll say it again, if it happens, is definitely going to bring some interesting news to the market. But it's like I said, it could have a massive run or it could have a massive crash.
Well, this might be the run up, you know, in
Yeah.
part because of the merger, and it could be a sell the news scenario. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's going to affect Ethereum a lot more than it's going to affect Bitcoin. Bitcoin, to me, I mean, it just, I feel like everything I was looking for it to do, and it could be a fake out. Obviously, you know, by Monday I could be proven horribly wrong, but it just technically looks like we had another short-term bottom, and the pressure is up from here. I mean, we crossed some massive technical points in the last 24 hours, and not by a little bit. Like, we blew them out of the water. I was surprised. I mean, last night, I'm sure all you guys looking at Bitcoin last night, I mean, it jumped and then just kept jumping and jumping and jumping. It's like, oh, man. You got that feeling like, it's going to crash right before, you know, the market opens and I can trade any miners. But it didn't do that. It went up pretty much all day today. So this was where it closed yesterday. So that was at 19,300. That's where Bitcoin was when the U.S. equity markets closed. So it went from 19,300. We're now at basically 21,300. So that's $2,000 in one day. That's the best day we've had in as long as I can remember. That is reminiscent of, you know, things that happened in 2021.
Hey, we got some really good questions, and we'll get to them here in a minute. I mean, some really good questions, so I'll get to them here in a minute.
All right, good. Yeah, we're not ignoring the chat, but
yeah,
we're
no,
not keeping up, I don't think.
And Andrew says, did I miss the run-up? And is there a chance for Riot to go down again soon, or should I settle for 8 USD on Riot? What's your opinion on that, Tom?
Well, my opinion is that there's always, like I said, I think it's going to be a bumpy road up. So if you want to take the chance that, you know, it's going to get back down to 7 or 650, if you want Riot, I mean, if it was me, again, this is not financial advice, but for me, I dollar cost average in. So I'm not dollar cost averaging in right now because in the year 2022, Riot has been the number one thing that I have bought. So I have dollar cost averaged myself to an oversized position. But the price got, I mean, I bought a lot of it at $4, you know, $4.60 or whatever. So I really filled up. If I was not full, for me, that would still be near the top of my list of ones that I would be dollar cost averaging into. And I mean, it was just over $10. So, I mean, if we get the same run up,
$8. I mean, wow. It really just depends on Bitcoin. I hate to say that, but you know it does.
Well,
I think if anything, you know, it's where you think it's going from here. I mean, I know where it's going, but I think we got a great opportunity. Let's not miss the opportunities we have in front of us right now to make some serious cash.
Right. This is the difference between short term, medium term, you know, long term. So,
you know, long term, you know, where's it going? I mean, 6 figures probably. You know, I don't know if the project's broken. There is some rumors that it could be broken right now, and I think that's FUD, and I think it happens for maybe. It's like I said to Tom. When did I say that to you, Tom? 2 years. We got about another year and 15 months. I mean, a year and 5 months, and from the halving. I think the halving's really going to, you know, change a lot of things for Bitcoin.
It changes the economics for the miners.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of FUD this week that I didn't even talk about on the channel. There were some articles put out from different branches of the United States government, one of which was the executive branch, that was very negative, but I took it with a grain of salt. I don't, you know, there's still this concept floating around like they're going to ban Bitcoin, and it's just, I just don't think that is... Obviously, nothing's impossible, but I don't think that's within the realm of something even worth considering.
I actually think it's more realistic than you think, Tom, actually. And here's one of the reasons why. Maybe not, you know, ban it outright. Yeah, no, ban it so you can't mine it. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. I wouldn't think that. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Who has the authority to do that?
Exactly. I know, but... I think it's just one of those hotbed issues that people that don't know it think that it's bad for the environment.
there's going to
people
be
don't understand the beauties of Bitcoin, and
that's the big thing. We're like 1% through the learning curve on this.
Right, and you know what? I should find my book. I read that book. Somebody gave us a book at Bitcoin about, I think it was like 21 million reasons why Bitcoin's amazing, or something like that. Do you remember the name of it, Tom?
Everything divided by 21 million.
Everything divided by 21 million. And he really gets into Bitcoin. And we got to remember, here is why Bitcoin's not taking off right now. And I don't care what you agree with me or don't, but this is what I think. Again, my opinions are my own. But here's why. Is because, number one, they have it at a place where you don't make any money if you're a retail person trying to mine it, okay? If you're in a company that you own, you can make money. But I just looked at buying some of the 104s, and by the time you get done, you're not making any money. You're making, I think it was $1 a day.
If you're
at 10
paying
cents.
retail for energy,
yes,
then yes, you've got to be one of these. You know, one of these companies. We got 20 companies we look at. You got to be a company at that scale where you've made a deal directly with the power company, or you're providing your own power, and you know your costs are then a fraction, 15% or 20% of what the retail investor would pay, and then it becomes profitable. And it even got down to the point where some of these people were struggling to make a profit, even at the cheap electric rates that they were getting.
Yeah. And so that makes them happy. Whoever they are, those people are the government who controls the United States, at least for now, that they want to see it so you don't really make any money on it. That's just, that's the facts.
You're going to the point that the market is always against the retail investor and against the little guy. There's no doubt about it. But I think that the thing that cancels that out, and it's the hardest thing in the world because it takes a long time, is patience.
Yep.
And patience is not like, I'm willing to wait a month or, wait it out. Patience, like for Bitcoin, patience could be 5 years.
But, and I forgot the other thing that people don't realize. Because the dollar is so strong right now, that's the other reason why Bitcoin's staying suppressed. Because that dollar is freaking, it's jacked.
We just now have had a little bit of pressure taken off of the dollar, and I think it just peaked. It's unreasonably strong.
Yeah.
The dollar hasn't been this strong in 20 years.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
So it did pull back a little bit, and I think that trend, I'm not saying it's going to plummet. It doesn't need to plummet. It just can't be at these sky high, right now it's got to come down. If it comes down, 2, 3, 4, 5%, even over a long period of time, as long as the trend stops going up and starts going down, it doesn't even matter how slow it goes down. I think that's going to be the key. And I think that's one of the reasons the little bump down that we just had is one of the reasons that some of these risk-on trades are back on today. Today, all of my small cap high growth watch lists were very much like the one that you see on this screen. Just other than Mawson, which we'll talk about because they had a specific thing happen today, just green across the board. Now, I will say, out of all of my watch lists, this was the best one. The Bitcoin miner watch list outperformed every single watch list I had today, even all my other small cap high growth watch lists. So this was a very good day for the Bitcoin miners.
Tom, there was an interesting question, and we've never even brought this one up. And it kind of goes with Plan B. Why do you think, who was it? Fred said it. Why do you think Bitcoin only made it to 69,000 and that was it and went down? I have my reason, but I want to hear what you think.
I'm not going to point to any one reason, but I do think that one of the biggest things was what you just mentioned. Everybody, all the retail investors got onto the exact same page. So when that happens, it doesn't matter what the page is. You're going to get a rug pull, period. So when Plan B got a couple months in a row where he nailed the price of Bitcoin at the end of the month, and then he predicted it's going to go to $98,000 in November and $140,000 in December, every retail investor was in. And then you've got this other group of retail investors. I'm sorry if it's anybody watching, and if it is, I strongly recommend against this. Not financial advice, but leveraging is just deadly. And when people saw Plan B say, hey, Bitcoin's going to be at 140,000 2 months from now, they started 50x leveraging, 100x leveraging, and that should not even be available to the retail investor, because that's just another. I mean, you're going to lose your money almost every single time in that scenario, unless you have unbelievably deep pockets to back that money up.
And what people don't understand too is that when you go long, there's people going short, and they will just drop it to get both sides of that.
And they got deeper pockets, so they can just keep shorting.
The money makers. Hey, do me a favor. We got 60 people watching and only 27 likes. Please smash it. Hit it hard and hit it fast. Listen, a few things. Why was CleanSpark the worst performer today? Because of the big run up yesterday, you think?
No, CleanSpark's the only thing I bought today. So I added shares of CleanSpark. And even despite the fact that it was up, because I did 2 CleanSpark videos this week, and I really need to do another one because they had another huge transaction today. It seems like both companies got punished for that transaction. Obviously, Mawson much more so than CleanSpark. CleanSpark just lagged a little bit behind, but still had a very nice day. Mawson got beat up. But I almost bought some of Mawson too, because Mawson, I'm going to show you this because I pulled up their financials. Mawson had to do this, period. And I did a video just a week or two ago saying they have to do this or they're going out of business. And it's really simple. So this is not rocket science. If you look at, this is their balance sheet. Total current assets, $12 million. Total current liabilities, $68 million. They cannot pay their bills. So I don't care what else you do as a company and how great your infrastructure is, and you could have the best staff in the world. If you can't pay your bills, you close the front doors and everybody goes home. And that's what they were staring at. So yeah, they just took a dramatic step. I mean, they sold one of their facilities. They sold, I think, 6,500 of their machines at dirt cheap. So CleanSpark got those 6,500 machines at $17 a terahash. So that's the best purchase I've ever seen. And that's the opportunistic things that, companies that are. CleanSpark has really gone on the offensive first. They're way out ahead. I think Hut 8 is still on defense, and they've got a lot more money on the sidelines, but they're looking for better opportunities. But CleanSpark's done waiting. They're buying if they see a good opportunity, and it's in Georgia. So it's right there, in Georgia. So it's most likely, I don't know. I couldn't find out, and I didn't dig deep enough, but could be nuclear power. I think it's green power, whatever they did.
Yeah, they're definitely on nuclear power. I mean, we have the only surplus power right now is in Georgia.
Right. So I think it was a good move for CleanSpark, and if you look at this balance sheet, it was the only move for Mawson. So they had to sell something to somebody because this is a going out of business balance sheet. So it's
going out of business.
It's always about liquidity. So that's one of the main. That's why I always say, everybody looks at all these other metrics. You've got to look at the balance sheet, because if the balance sheet's a problem, then it doesn't matter if they're doing everything else well. And conversely, if they've got a rock solid balance sheet, that will cover up a lot of mistakes. Not that that's what you want to see out of your company is a good balance sheet and a bunch of mistakes, but it gives you that margin of error.
Well, let me say one thing. If BlackRock is into Bitcoin like BlackRock's into Bitcoin, you're going to see some movement in price. And also remember, what is it called? Grayscale. Grayscale. Is it still 30% off, Tom? Do you know, or haven't you looked at it?
I don't know the
lately?
exact number, but it's somewhere plus or minus of that. It always, it's not true. It doesn't always run at that, but it has been running at that for a long time.
So basically, if you want to buy Bitcoin and you believe Bitcoin long term is a good investment, you can get into that ETF. Is that an ETF yet? No, it's not.
It's a trust, but effectively it acts the same way. You can buy you can buy and sell it just through your broker. And, you know, it's the trust holds Bitcoin at a big discount because of the fact, you know, with the rules of the trust, it's extremely illiquid for the actual trust holders. You know, that's a different process if you want to buy, you know, if you want to be an actual trust holder. But, you know, it's something you can just buy and sell.
Right. So think about it. If Bitcoin right now is like 21.3, you get it roughly, approximately, not financial advice, by the way, 30% discount. So that's like, I'll just say $5,000. Really, it's like $6,000 discount.
And that's where time and patience comes in because, you know, we know that they already applied to have their trust turned into an ETF. They got rejected, and they, just like they said they would, they have sued, and they're going to pursue that. So, you know, that could take a year. That could take 2 years. But if you're going to sit in Bitcoin long-term anyway, it's very tempting. I have not put my money into that, but I'm starting to wonder right now as we're talking why I haven't. So it's.
I mean, we just don't think about it, but it is a great investment tool right now to get. You know, if you think you've missed out right now on the run on Bitcoin, that's a great way to still get in and make some dollars and pennies. If you're new to the stream, I'm George. This is Tom. Tom knows a lot about the miners of Bitcoin. And now we're really getting deep into crypto. Tom, another home run. Lunar. You did a video earlier this week on, what is it called? What is it called? Lunar?
It's Classic. Lunar Classic.
So LUNC.
LUNC.
And I made, in one day, would that be 30%? Or I guess
40%.
Or yeah, from 40%. In one day, I got out because I couldn't believe it went off so well.
George likes to get, if he makes 30, 40, 50% in a day, he just gets out and calls it a win. And I don't disagree with that. I mean,
yeah, and I mean, how long? And then right after I got out, I don't know if people saw it, it dropped 10 basis points. Because what happened to that, Tom?
There's this whole thing with Binance that they seem to keep flip-flopping on as to whether or not they're going to participate in the burn. For those of you who haven't watched the video, sorry that this might mean nothing to you, but essentially the big reason that is looking to explode is they're looking to burn like the vast majority of the coins. There's 7 trillion, just under 7 trillion coins out there. So, you know, if they burn 6.8 trillion of those coins, it will go up in value. But if Binance is not going to participate in the burn, that's where most of the coins, that coin is traded, is on Binance. So that's going to drastically slow down the burning process. So that was kind of and I think that conversation's not over yet. Binance is going to flip-flop back and forth. There's nothing to stop them. I'm not aware of anything that prevents them literally from trading it and flip-flopping back and forth on their position just to make money. I don't know that to be true, and I'm not accusing them of that. I'm just saying they seem to be very unclear on the matter so far.
Colton, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. Do you think, Tom, real quick, do you think Bitcoin or HUD will do a reverse split?
I think there will be no more reverse splits. The only company that I'm going to say out of the big companies, then particularly the two you mentioned, I do not think there's any realistic chance that they're going to do a reverse split. I think that would be a monumental mistake, and they have no reason to do it.
Barry had an interesting question. Tom, do you think is it your dream for miners to explode and rotate profit into EVs?
Barry, you've read my mind.
Really?
Yes. That's been my real dream is that all already would have happened, but I'm still waiting. But I am hoping, and I do think that Bitcoin's a step ahead of the small cap EVs. So that is my plan. As these things explode, I'll start moving more money into, and you guys know some of the names I've mentioned. Unfortunately, Romeo got bought out, and as a stockholder, that didn't really work out very well as far as I'm concerned. But there's a bunch of other small cap, high growth EV plays that, George, you like Beam, I know. That's
Love Beam,
to me,
especially
that's
with California doing, which I'm sure my Sacramento friend knows. What they're doing is making it so that stock should explode at some point in time. Explode.
I think there's a lot of those stocks that are so monumentally undervalued. There are two small cap EV stocks that have no debt and twice as much cash as their market cap, with small cash burn rates. So sometimes that can happen because, your cash burn rate's astronomical. So even though you got a bunch of cash in the bank, it's going to be gone in a year. So that is not the case with these. They just simply have 5, 6, 7, 8 years worth of cash, and they got twice as much cash as the company's worth. So to me, that's not a if, it's a when.
Well, and so yeah, you're talking about Nano Dimensions.
Nano Dimensions is not in that industry, but they're the ultimate example. They've been discounted by $500 million. I mean,
Right.
that's just insanity. But I'll tell you, Arrow, and it's not, a lot of people might say, well, it's a garbage company. I don't think their product is going to hit. And I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, it's highly likely we're going to have a bull market. And the small cap high growth stocks are going to do what they did 2 years ago, which is go ballistic, whether they're a good company or a bad company or somewhere in the middle, right? They're not going to be trading at half their cash. I mean, they were trading at, 50 times their cash. Now they're trading at half their cash. So it all comes around.
Somebody's not going to like my answer on what hardware device do you use for long-term crypto. They're going to say you're an idiot. When I tell you what I did. A lot of people bought some CleanSpark today. What's your thoughts about the FUD? U.S. banning Bitcoin mining. You think it's just total FUD?
I think regulations are coming. I think until the regulations come, everybody can spread as much FUD as they want. There will be regulations. And in my extremely strong opinion, the very first regulations that will come are on stable coins. The second regulations that will come are on the crypto exchanges. I think there's going to be very little, I think there's going to be guidance, but very little legislation that goes onto the actual projects themselves. Because they're not the source of the problem. It's really the stable coins is its own potential nightmare. And all the transactions go through the crypto exchanges. So, if they can control the source, I think that's what they're looking to do.
No. Are you sure?
I can't be sure, but that's what I think.
Okay. I never answered why I felt that Bitcoin peaked out at 69. Can I answer that?
Go. Absolutely.
Here's why it peaked out at 69. Because people got greedy and wanted their money. No, I think Elon Musk is behind almost all of that, by the way. Which is kind of crazy to think about this, that Elon, big believer of Elon, not a hater, but he's an opportunist. He knows when he needs to get in and get out of something. Well, and I think that was one of the reasons, and I think a lot of people saw that and they got nervous.
To a certain extent, like it or not, he has the ability to move things.
Yeah.
And there is no question, this Bitcoin, the jump to 40,000 was directly as a result of an Elon Musk tweet. I'm talking about back in January of 2021. So, he may just have accelerated a little bit, but whatever the case, he's moved coins more than one time with his, his for or against type tweets.
Before I miss this, Darren says green hydrogen play is Plug. Do you know who Plug is? Tom?
Yep, Plug's a good one. I like Plug. And they're not for me. They're not at my price target right now. So I'm not in those. I've also traded FCell, and that's very similar, but they're a small version of Plug. Plug's a bigger company, and I do think hydrogen is the future. I just don't know how far into the future. I think hydrogen's going to replace electric cars. That could be 25 years from now.
I hate to say it. In the United States, guys, don't hate me for this. But EV vehicles can't work, and I'm sorry. I wish they could, but they can't. You can't not have um, what is it called, nuclear, and expect it to work. Even Elon Musk said, "Look we need to open up all the nuclear power plants that we closed in the last 5 to 10 years." Okay, and that's what he said, not me. He said it, and he was also, and this is a person that champions about saving the environment. He cares about the environment, but he knows right now that the economic hardship that we're going to have by just pushing this EV without having the infrastructure set up. I mean, people don't realize what an infrastructure we have set up for gas. I mean, what did we say it was, Tom? $2 trillion?
It's the infrastructure that it's going to take to, and the government is going to subsidize a lot of the stations, but just having charging stations isn't really the full amount of infrastructure. You need the electricity. I mean, we know right now, there's states asking people to turn the lights off. So, if there's not enough electricity to turn the lights on, there's, at the moment right now, our grid is not set up to support a mass transition to the EV. But I think the grid will get there. I just think that ultimately later, hydrogen is better. They're just further away on it.
Did you see me shaking my head? I'm not going to say anything.
George is a no.
No, well, I know electric. And if you want to start talking about electric, we're at peak capacity. I mean, look, great example. Look at what capacity we're at in California right now, okay? How in the world, I mean, just tell me how in the world, what are we going to go do? Put up solar panels or put up windmills? Even Tesla solar megapacks. It's just, the problem is here's the problem. When everybody has a demand at the same time. So when it gets to 100 degrees,
right,
everybody has a demand to cool off.
It's peak demand. That's
right.
That's the absolute issue.
If we didn't have this peak demand, then yeah, I agree. But I don't know. Who are you going to tell not to charge their house?
Who's going to solve the peak demand problem?
Elon Musk.
The Bitcoin miners.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. That's the truth. That's the real answer.
I know.
And that's the learning curve education process that has to happen. The absolute best way by far that I am aware of would be, hey, Addison, hey, I saw your thing. Thank you very much. I will definitely be having Sue on sometime in the next 2 weeks. So she's a good friend of the show, and I know she does a great interview, and I know other reasons why people like to have Sue on the show. So and there's a bunch to talk about with them. Particularly, Hut just had 2 monster days in a row. So I'd love to talk to her about that. And I had some super specific questions on some of the stuff that they put out. So yes, I'm on that. Right now I'm talking with Hut and Bitfarms, setting up a time for an interview. So those are coming.
2 people said, do you think Bitcoin will ever go down to 16K or lower? Go ahead, Tom. What's your opinion? I'll give you mine.
My opinion is no.
No.
That is my opinion.
And Tom, why do you feel that?
What makes you say that? I mean,
what is the reason why, Tom?
Obviously, you can never rule anything out, and particularly in crypto, this is like the most volatile asset that's ever existed. And a part of it is we are still, this is hard to imagine, but we are still like, this is the first inning. This is like the very beginning of crypto. So for those of you that have been in it for 3 or 4 or 5 years or more, maybe it doesn't feel that way, but it has not been regulated. Most of the big money isn't in it yet. I mean, all the gigantic catalysts have not even come along yet. So long term, that's why I feel like it will go up. In the short term, is it impossible that we have some other black swan event that, I feel like that term gets overused. A black swan event should only occur, once in your lifetime, or else it's not really a black swan event. But so yeah, it could happen, but I don't think that's its natural trajectory at this point. I think we've already very clearly and very painfully bottomed out. I mean, let's not forget so fast how painful this bottoming process was. This was brutal. This was truly, even though we did not get that 85% pullback that we got in the other cycles, remember, we only got a 3x, not a 20x or a 30x. So this bear market was much more vicious than the previous ones. We're still right now below the 200-week moving average. That's never happened. We've been 2 times in the history of Bitcoin, we've gone below the 200-week moving average. Both of those times, within 1 day or within 1 week, we got back above and never went below. We've been bouncing under the 200-week moving average for 2 months now. So this run right now, this bear market makes up 98% of the time that we've been under the 200-week moving average. So that should tell you this was not fun. This was not, you know, everybody's saying, well, we haven't had that event yet. We have, I mean, how much pain do you guys want?
Well, okay, now here's my lame opinion. I think that notorious September before an election in the United States is a major up for the market. And I think that's why we've been teetering, tottering, going up and down, up and down. I think, though, that we, in maybe not in the next 20 days, but probably in the next 30 days, we should start seeing a back down to the 18-ish, 17-ish. And, yeah, I do think there's a very good realistic possibility when all this crypto news comes out in November. And then just because it's all FUD.
You're just saying there's going to be one more big round of FUD.
I think there's going to be one more big round, and then I think you hang on because it's going to be a rocket ship. I think it's going to explode like you've never seen it explode before.
Yeah, because
not financial advice, but that's honestly what I think is going to happen.
And we didn't get that. We didn't get that this cycle. So this cycle is already completely different than all the other cycles.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm calling this the new cycle.
Right.
Because you have, that's what people don't understand. Bitcoin is such a new, and crypto overall is a new asset, and we can't really project it from previous, you know, highs and lows in what went up 5%, or I mean, you know, 5x, you know, 6x. But, you know, there's just opportunities. And here's the thing as an investor you want to see. You want to see movement. You want to see the 10% increase. I mean, look at Bitcoin. 10%. That means in 1 day, you made 10% on your money. That's huge. So.
Yeah. And in the old days, that was a good year.
Ed's saying Tom is cute. Oh, no, she is cute and smart. It doesn't make us bad people. LOL. By the way, I kept my hut that you guys recommended buying.
So I see in here, Gareth is asking, can you possibly do an interview with Ben at Bitfarms? So I've already talked to Ben. We're just picking a date. So that is going to happen, hopefully, you know, in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
Greggy's saying, what's the best choice for entry-level investors to do?
I mean, there's a lot of different answers to that. It depends how new you are. And obviously, we can't give financial advice, but, you know, if you really don't know what you're doing, you don't understand stocks, there's funds that you can invest in that, you know, the SPY and the Qs that just mirror the market. I don't know if there's a few that are pretty close, but I don't know that there's a pure play. You guys can drop in the chat. There's a couple of funds that are primarily made up of Bitcoin miners. So, you know, if you're new to this, you're not sure which one to pick, you know, maybe buying a fund that holds 10 of them or 15 of them, you know, it spreads your risk around if you don't have enough time to dig into all of it. So for me, I dig into it and
Concept says Bitcoin is trading like a risk asset. NASDAQ 100 closes over 50 DMAs. Bitcoin doubles, targets 32, bullish, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, this is going to be a really good month for the rest of the month.
Bitcoin is risk on for right now. It's risk on for right now. It's not a one-to-one, day-to-day hedge against inflation. But if you look over the course of the long term, it has served as a hedge against inflation on a long-term basis. But you're right. On a day-to-day basis, particularly in the last year and a half, it's been trading along, correlated mostly with the NASDAQ, and it's absolutely, it is just, is the market risk on or risk off? And we've never, for me, you guys, I know a lot of you guys are very experienced investors. This is the most, not the last 2 days notwithstanding, this is the most risk-off environment I've ever seen in the history of the stock market.
Would you, Eric said this, buy Apple and hold?
I would not buy Apple and hold. So that's just my personal opinion.
See, isn't it? I just wanted to have that because it's what, it's just. So why would you say that, Tom?
I think there's so many other opportunities. I also worry about Apple. These valuations, let me show you what Apple's doing, because someday, when you get that thing where it's like, this doesn't make any sense. Well, someday that thing fixes itself. Sometimes it's 5 years or 10 years or whatever. And that's why I'm always afraid to short stocks. I know which stocks aren't going to make it. I just don't know. They could quadruple before they go out of business. So I'm scared to short them. And if you look at Apple, and everybody's going to disagree with me on this one, I'm sure. But
well, Jedi, hey, it's okay. Those those ATMs are good for when they go and buy big assets.
Apple's got a 20...
As long as they don't use it for their daily operating budget, I'm happy with ATMs.
Well, and yeah, if you're in a small cap high growth stock, you're going to have either debt or equity. I mean, that's what small cap high growth stocks, and this is a very cash intensive business, right? They've got to buy the infrastructure, they've got to buy the machines. So these companies are going to need to raise money. What you hope is that they raise money intelligently, and they're not going out and doing a gigantic, at the market at $1.50, right? And they're waiting for good opportunities and for some bumps in their stock price. So, but this is how it works. None of these companies are anywhere near, the finish line of raising money. So that's just the unfortunate reality. Back to Apple, and I'm not going to obsess on this, and I know most of you will probably disagree, but this has a 26 PE ratio. So that is way, way, way above any average, whether it be small cap, mid cap, large cap. This is an extra large cap. This is a $2.5 trillion market cap at a 26 PE. At some point, that formula doesn't make sense. And I'm not saying that means they're a bad company. I mean, these guys have more money than they have cash in the bank. They have a couple $100 billion. So it's a great company. They make money hand over fist. But some of these companies that are in the 26, Amazon's even worse than this. Amazon's double this. So I think there's a day of reckoning somewhere out there. And I don't think it affects most of the people on this live chat, because it's already happened to the small cap high growth stocks. That small cap high growth is already down 60, 70, 80, 90, sometimes 95%. That is at the cost of, these indexes are only down 25% or 20% because you got the Apples and Amazons of the world trading at a 26 multiple, or Amazon they've come down, but they were like at 100. Oh, sorry, they haven't come down. They're at 118 PE. They're a $1 trillion company. They're trading at 118 PE multiple, which means that the investors think that someday this is going to be a $50 trillion company. Well, I am not in that camp. I don't believe that. So that's my opinion. That doesn't mean it's not going to double before it corrects. So, these may be great investments for years to come, but I can't reconcile that. I don't understand how you can be a $1 trillion market cap at 118 PE. And that's not an anomaly. They've been doing this for a decade now. So, they could do it for the next decade.
So listen to this, and this is the truth, and we never did it. earlier this year, Tom and I were sitting down at lunch, and just Tom, smart guy, George, small brain. So Tom and I are sitting down talking. I think that's what I need to do. I need to surround myself with smart people, so I look smarter. Just so you know, that's why I do it. So we're talking. I said, Tom, I have an interesting question. Can you pick 5 companies right now that are going to lose $50 billion? And he goes, yup. And he goes, yeah, within 30 days. It happened the next day. Do you remember this, Tom?
Oh yeah.
The
And then
next
we
day,
did it again.
and we couldn't do the story. It's like, because we knew that they were going to go down because this is so overvalued.
You've given
What
me
was
that
the-
challenge twice.
Yeah,
And
what-
we got-
What is the normal PE before all this artificial inflation, free money stuff out there in the United States? What is the normal PE?
There's
It
different.
used to be in the 2000s and the 1990s.
Everything's trading at a little bit higher PE right now. And the thing is, it also matters how mature your company is. These super high PEs are meant for the smaller cap, very high growth companies because they are going to get 100 times bigger, right? I don't know which one of the EV players is going to win, but one of them is going to be 100 times bigger 5 years from now than they are today. 5 of the other ones might be out of business, but one of them is going to be 100 times bigger. So that's when you get those kind of PEs. When you have a mature company that's 30 years old or 50 years old or 100 years old, that, they are not going to experience 30, 40, 50% growth on a year-over-year basis going forward forever. So it should have more to do correlated with your growth. Now, I will give Apple credit. And Amazon, they've had very good growth, but not to justify, there was never, just 10 years ago, like the biggest market cap in history was like, well, one popped up to 700 billion at one point, but 400 billion was just about, like, that was usually the number one market cap in the whole world for, 15 years. And then all of a sudden, it was 3 trillion. Well, that's an 8x from the biggest one to Apple. So I just don't know that it's sustainable. I don't think that's the new norm. But I could be wrong. I'd rather invest in a small cap, high growth company that has a 40 PE ratio because, if they do their thing, they're going to grow into that.
And my whole thing right now, and I'm greedy because that's why I like crypto so much, is because if it's not going to at least quadruple 5 times, 6 times X, I'm not interested in it. I'm going to be honest with you. It just doesn't excite me anymore. And I personally feel, I guess it's just who I am, but I personally feel the stock market is ready for a major, major downturn. I mean, I'm talking major. And I'm talking such a downturn that I don't think it'll come back anytime soon.
Here's the beauty
Tom and
of that,
I
though.
always argue about this all the time.
But there is a middle ground where we could both basically be right. Because almost every stock on every one of my watch lists, including the one on the screen right now, those stocks are all, even after this nice run up, every single stock on my screen is down at least 80%. Some are still down 90 or 95%. So when the market gets, if or when the market gets taken out, it's not going to be because Riot got decimated. It's going to be because Microsoft got decimated,
Bingo.
and Apple got decimated, and Amazon, and there's 5 companies that are like, they just dominate the market, and then there's 10 more past that. Berkshire Hathaway, you've got Walmart, and you've got big companies out there that, yeah, some of them have had a tough year, but none of those have been down 50% or 70%. There are 2 big companies. I'm forgetting one right now. I know Netflix was one of the,
that was one that we picked. Yeah.
Yeah, and that has gotten just destroyed.
Nvidia too was another one.
Nvidia, and I don't think they're done getting beat up. I don't understand why Nvidia's worth what it is right now, never mind what it was worth 6 months ago. So, and again, these are unpopular opinions. I'm aware of that. And a lot of people have made a lot of money investing in these stocks. So congratulations. I'm not rooting against these companies. It's just that I can't. I got to invest in stuff I believe in.
Oh, and they're not going out of business, those companies, because they got so much cash sitting on the sidelines. They're not going out of business.
Right. I don't know what it would. I don't see any scenario where Apple goes out of business.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing that people don't realize. How in the world do you get a company that has that many billions of dollars? And I understand why it has such a crazy, valuation. It's because it has so many billions of dollars. People are like, it ain't going out of business. It's got to be worth. And the problem is, I feel with Apple is we just haven't seen any really innovative ideas here recently. Maybe it's me. Maybe I just don't know about it. But I try to pay attention of the current events of what's going on. And P.S. I do own Apple.
Is that in response to?
No, I do not own Apple currently. Sorry, I own Apple products, and I love Apple products. I do a lot on the internet and stuff like that. And I think that they really came out with some good products. But I believe they're lagging, and I think they've been lagging. Here's a great example. And I'm sorry, this pissed me off, so I'm going to tell everybody about it. My daughter was she's graduating, she's going to college. She's like, Dad, I really want an Apple MacBook, right? I'm like, dude, we can buy a piece of crap, PC for like $200, or we can get this for $2,000. So I buy her the $2,000. Do you want the warranty? Get the warranty if you buy Apple products. That's the only time I'm gonna tell you, get the warranty. So I didn't get the warranty. Literally almost 12 months and 5 days. I think it was 12 months and 10 days later. The power inverter breaks. And I guess it's a known problem with those MacBooks. And it's like, they don't care. And it's like, I'm sorry, that just pissed me off. And then to know what they did with the batteries, I don't know if you guys know this or pay attention, they settled a massive lawsuit because it was proven that they turned the way that you charge the batteries in the older models, they made it so they didn't charge as quickly or as fast or hold as much. And they did a battery degeneration. And it was a multi-billion-dollar settlement that but they didn't do anything wrong. See, those are the type of stories that people
they're the
are
kind
able
of
to
company
bury.
that can handle a multi-billion-dollar settlement.
But
They made money. They did the math, and they probably made money on that. They knew it was coming. So,
but we're missing a few questions, and I want to make sure I get to everybody's question. This was an interesting one. John asked. There's a company called, it looks like it's called Blockchain Coin Investors. It has 2 employees, and then other cryptos have 300 employees. Which is better? I know my answer.
Well,
so
I don't know that company. What?
I don't know it either. We'll have to look into it, John. But I can tell you this: anybody can make a cryptocurrency, and I have currently made one. I'm in the process of making a second one. With cryptocurrency, it's not that hard, and you have 2 employees. It's what the utility of that token / coin is. If it has a good utility, I don't care if there's only 2 employees. If it does something that helps some type of thing, like one of the programs I was in for a long time was about drones. Remember, Tom? Drones are be delivering our food, our meals. Drones are going to be everywhere. And there was actually a blockchain that actually did something with it, communicated from the drone. It tracked, the delivery. And I thought that was a good project, and that worked out well for me. But it didn't take off the way it was supposed to take off. Drones were supposed to be the biggest thing. It's just not working right now in the United States because the FAA does not like it. You got any questions about that or comments, Tom?
My only comment is some things are obvious to me anyway. I feel like they're obvious. I had this debate with my brothers 4 years ago when we were reading an article in the paper in September that this Christmas being 4 years ago, Amazon was going to deliver all their packages with drones. And I mean, that was a no-brainer. I said 0% chance of that happens, plus which that's never going to happen. So not only is that not going to happen 3 months from now, it's never going to happen. The logistics of that that's not, and people, I'm sure, minds are exploding right now. But the logistics of delivering every package with a drone. Now, there's other delivery systems. If you look at something like what Workhorse has, they have a truck with 20 or 40 drones on it. So that truck can go to a neighborhood and deliver 20 packages. I believe that could happen, but you cannot have from a warehouse. I mean, these guys, what are we going to have, 50 million drones in the air just from Amazon every single day? I order something from Amazon. Sometimes I get it the same day. I mean, they are a machine. There's no question about that.
Machine. Have you heard of Sand or Mana? MANA crypto tokens.
Yes, and I'll tell you, I have not. I know everybody was. Those are two of the things that people have gotten excited about. I did not do a deep dive on any of that. I've only really deep dived 5 or 6 cryptocurrencies, so I will be doing more of that in the future. So I don't want to give an unintelligent answer on that one.
Unintelligent answer, huh? Only thing I can tell you,
uninformed answer.
I still am just an XRP nut, and I'm sorry, I have not changed my mind on that at all. I still believe that XRP is going to do extremely well, and I think that it's just FUD. I think again, it's FUD. Even having a lawsuit against them in the United States, FUD.
I feel like
FUD.
WLG, isn't that from Coming to America? Let me know if I'm right. Oh, yeah, it says it right there. George's crypto reminded me of Coming to America. Yeah, that's a classic. What I'm reading is what he said, quote, when I say he's got his own money, I mean he's got his own money.
That's a great one. I am in the process. Greg said something about it, of working on a new crypto. But here's the thing. I care about people, and I know it's weird that we care, but in the universal, I care about people. And so Tom and I are working on a program right now to help people that are less fortunate than us. And I will tip my own hat because I think we came up with a way, if inflation continues like we think it's going to continue, and that's one of the reasons why I think there's going to be a major market event, which could, might change, but because inflation is not under control, and I don't believe currently we have any ideas of how to get. I mean, we know how to get under control. I mean, everybody on this channel, we all know how to get under control, but I believe that the powers that be right now do not want to get it under control. So Tom and I have come up with a way to help poor people in the course of, or just people that, I've had bad times in my life. I went to a 0 and less than a 0. And I think it humbles you in the course of life. But I think in the United States, it's the only place currently where you can go to 0 and still turn that around and make something of yourself. The only thing that is against us is time, and nothing else is against us in the United States. So we will announce that at the right time. But my thing is, I don't really need somebody's money, and I don't like going and asking people for money because it's just not who I am. I'd rather just say, make it smaller and do it myself instead of getting other people involved in development and stuff like that. So that should be before the end of the year, because I still think that crypto has, we'll call it a crypto winter, is still ahead of us. Sorry, Tom.
No, that's all right. That is future news coming, and I will say it was George's idea, and we're working hard on that. So hopefully we get that out to everybody sooner than later. But sorry
the
to be vague to
Megaverse was
everybody.
all hype. Tom, you can take this one, and then I got to jump off after this. But
Colton,
talk about the Megaverse, Tom.
Colton, yes, I agree, or I answer yes. Was the Metaverse all hype? That was my sense. That is still my sense, and you know, it might be one of those things that 15 years from now is something a lot bigger than I'm envisioning right now. But, you know, when Facebook changed their name to Meta, I felt like that single decision marked the top for them, and it's all downhill from there. The Metaverse is not, it's never going to be what people hoped it is going to be, in my opinion. Doesn't mean that it's not going to exist, but I think things like, oh, I bought land in the Metaverse. Really? Well, I didn't, and I'm not going to. So, there's so much hype going on between the Metaverse and hype coins and NFTs, and I mean, they're just throwing everything at the wall right now and seeing if anything will stick, even if only for a minute, so that people can make a couple of bucks along the way. So a lot of this stuff, in my opinion, will melt away, right? Nobody's got a pet rock anymore. I'm aging myself. Most of you probably don't even know what that means, but there's fads. And I don't see the substance behind the Metaverse, in my opinion. And you know, this is not off the cuff. I've looked into this. You know, that doesn't mean my opinion's right. It's just my opinion. But it's not off the top of my head. I feel strongly that that is not a place that I would invest money in anytime soon.
Well, I'm gonna bounce out. I just want to say one thing, and this is what I've been all about. It's my project is Can You Do Any Better? And I know this sounds like a pansy little thing, and I'm sorry, but guys, when you're out in the public, and I know it right now, it just seems like everybody's stressed out of their mind more so than normal. I don't know if it's just because where I live there's a bunch of rich people. But just be nice. Smile, wave, let people cut you off. Who cares if they get in front of you? I think if we start to change the environment of the world, it'll be a better place.
If we could just reduce the amount of road rage.
Oh, I know, just that. I mean,
one thing.
I know. Just who cares if they get in front of you? By the way, it's usually me getting in front of you, and I'm sorry. I'm usually that guy that pisses everybody off. And get out of the left lane. Move to the right lane. I missed the start. Tom, I know you covered. What is the news with CleanSpark, by the way?
The news with CleanSpark is that essentially they bought, Mawson had a facility in Georgia, so CleanSpark bought the facility. They also bought somewhere just under 6,500 machines, and so...
That's up by us, by the way. That was up in, I know where it is, but go on.
Yeah, and the thing is, CleanSpark's already in Georgia.
Right.
So it was a match made in heaven, I think. I think both companies won from that. I will tell you, you know, Mawson got crushed today, but in pre-market, Mawson was up by far the most out of anybody. It opened way up, and then it tanked as people digested that, but I feel like maybe they're missing the boat. I did not buy it myself. I actually did buy a little CleanSpark because I like what they did there, and that's a series of moves that they've done now, but both companies are better off than they were when they started, in my opinion, as a result of this transaction. Mawson, unfortunately for them, obviously it's not ideal. You don't want to sell your facility and you don't have to sell your machines for pennies on the dollar, but they had a cash crisis. So, like, they needed to get rid of some debt and restructure their world, and this probably isn't the only thing they're going to do.
Well, and I'm pretty sure, so we had a chance to bid out some for CleanSpark, and they were putting in solar panels all over the place. So I'm pretty sure they've already done that. I wasn't too serious on the bid. So, hey, everybody, have a good one. You can stay on time if you want. I mean,
all right, thank you, George.
See you guys.
All right, so I don't know. I'll stick around. I got a few more minutes if anybody's interested. So, I'm just gonna catch up. I'm gonna start reading the chat. That's usually George's deal. But let me catch up. Alex says health is the first. I don't know what context that is in, but I will agree with that statement on general principle. I missed the start. Oh, okay. We just read that one. Oh. Okay, what's the big channel announcement? So it's not a big channel announcement, but I just want to let everybody know we should have done this. Actually, this is what we were supposed to open with at the beginning of the day. So thank you, Colton, for asking. I joined up to YouTube's membership program. So I'm going to be shifting over to using YouTube, and I'm hoping to create just a small community here. We've got a really great community. Most of you guys on the live stream, you know, are you're regulars, and rather than, you know, we've never done a Patreon. We have a Discord, and I'm not getting rid of the Discord. I'm not getting rid of anything. So we're going to keep all of that. I just feel like consolidating and getting it on the YouTube platform makes a lot more sense. So we're going to do a live stream that's just private once a week for members only. And I feel like we can keep up with the questions and ask and answer a lot more than that and dig a little deeper. And we don't necessarily have to censor ourselves as much on a private live stream. So, you know, there's going to be some other just fun perks and whatnot for membership. So it's nothing anybody has to do. We're not canceling anything. We're still going to do our Friday live stream for free, just like always, and everything else will remain the same. We're just going to have a membership program where we do some extra stuff. I'm going to put out some of my personal, daily notes on a daily basis and that kind of stuff. And again, the big thing is, the two big things I think we're going to have, I guess it comes with priority reply to comments. So I do try to reply to everybody's comment. So hopefully you guys know that I mostly reply to your comments, but it does get overwhelming and sometimes I fall behind. So this puts some kind of priority on them, so it makes sure that I see all of your priority comments. But again, I'm still going to try to answer as many comments as I possibly can. That doesn't mean I'm going to answer every single one always, but I try. So, yeah, and then a members only live chat. So that's the thing, and it's $5. So, you know, it's not a lot of money, and obviously you don't have to do it if that's an uncomfortable amount of money or you guys don't want to spend any money, whatever the case may be. But for those who are interested, you know, we're going to do that. And then in the live stream, I want to talk about some stocks and pick a video each week that we're going to do. So as a result of that, you know, maybe we can bring up, I want to get more out of you guys as a community. You know, you guys have a lot of good ideas and you throw a lot of stuff at me and I really don't get a chance to fully follow up on all of it. So it would be nice, you know, if that would be an extra video every week where, you know, it's not a stock that I follow. It's a stock that I jump in and do my due diligence on that I never would have looked at, but not for the fact that, you know, we got it in the stream. So that's it. But at a minimum, if everybody could keep liking, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. And liking, and I know you guys know this, the comments really help a lot. I'm trying to grow the channel. YouTube has been a tough place for these types of financial related channels. Views are way down, all that stuff. So I don't care. I'm not complaining. I'm going to do my videos one way or the other. And, you know, if nobody watches them, then so be it. But I do think a lot, you know, if one person watches them and, you know, says thank you and got some information out of it, then, you know, that's what George and I talked about when we started this whole thing. So we're going to continue with that. So that's it. So there's a join button for anybody who wants to join. And hopefully it turns into something fun. So we'll see. Eric, thanks for the super chat. He bought Bitfarms. So I did not buy any Bitfarms today, but I did buy some. So I'll tell you, I bought some September 16th $1.50 Bitfarms options. So it wasn't a lot of money. When I buy something, that's next Friday, guys. So that's going to last for 1 week. So if I'm buying something that expires that fast, it's just a little bit. You know, if I can make a couple $100 on that, Or conversely, obviously, I could lose a couple $100. But I just feel like momentum is in our favor. These last 2 days was a big, big shift. So I did buy. So I didn't buy any more shares of Bitfarms. I've been buying. For those of you who've been with me for a long time, I spent all of the year 2022 buying shares of Bitfarms. So I'm pretty much overfilled with shares of Bitfarm. But I do still mess around with their options. Usually not this super short term, but I felt it today, so I took a little chance. Alex is saying cash, check or cash. If you're talking about the membership program, I think literally if you just go to my page, there's a button that says join. And then you can just, the other thing is you get to join through YouTube, which is a credible thing. I don't like asking people to go to some weird third party thing and all that. So there should just be a join button if that answers the question. It would be cool if you could take calls. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a way. I figure once we get into... Oh, Darren, thank you. Welcome to the Talkin' Investing Squad. So I assume that you just joined. That will be our first ever member. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. I feel like we're going to figure it out. When we get in there, I'm going to pay attention to that because I think we can have fun with it. And yeah, I'd love to be more interactive. That's the best part of all of this is, and that's why I read all the comments and I try to answer as many as I can because that's the whole point of this. If we're not all communicating together, then who cares? What are we doing this for? So, and hopefully, obviously, the other reason we're doing this is hopefully we're making money over the course of time. And I know this was, yesterday and today is nice. It is very, very nice to have a couple of days where we're in the solid green. Particularly most of us here are in the Bitcoin miners. Not all of us, but, these were 2 good days. So let's see. Eric, I bought 20K of Bitfarm today. Euros, I believe is what that says. So is that, and then you said LOL. So does that mean that you're joking or that you're, that's a big buy on an update like this. But I mean, they're still giving Bitfarms is what, at $1.40. I mean, I can't argue with anybody that's buying at that. I have bought so much that, but I still am buying options. Gareth said, thanks, Tom. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Appreciate it. JD, welcome aboard. Thank you. Welcome to the Talkin' Investing Squad. So thanks. A couple people have joined up. I really appreciate it. Is your 10K to 100K challenge still on? I haven't done a video, but I have kept that portfolio going. And that has been an unbelievably rocky road. So I think I got to do another. I've updated you guys from time to time. I was down as much, I think, as 68% at one time. And then I did get back up. It's sad, but I was thrilled to get back up to under 50% loss. But I'm lower than that right now. This 3 weeks since August 15th, I didn't really, I don't sell my mining stocks. So I held on to all of them, and so I've pulled back a little. So I'm back down about 55% again. So I'm still down 55% on the year. That has been brutal. That in retrospect, obviously we would all invest differently in retrospect because we know what happened, but it would be nice. I think I'm going to keep that one going and then start a new one on January 1st with a different set of rules. Because one of the things that, when you can never add money to the investment ever again, and that was one of the rules that I put on that. This was a year where all you wanted to do was be adding money and dollar cost averaging in, and I could not do that at all this year because that was against the rules of the challenge. So I feel like that was, this was not the year for those rules. So That's what I'm going to try. Next year, I think I'm going to keep this one going because I still want to get, those are still long-term investments. I mean, I can tell you, Bitfarms, CleanSpark, those are two of my biggest investments in there. Nano Dimensions, I have not really switched up what I've invested in. And the only one that really went bust on me is Romeo. And I did lose a bunch on Romeo. So, and there's no making that back. They've sold themselves to Nikola now. So, you know, that's it. That's the end. Persistence and patience, my good man. Yes, agreed. Eric says Bitcoin hits 25K miners have upside of 70% plus. Just there, fingers crossed. So I agree with exactly what you just said. Most of the miners still, that would just get them back to where they were on August 15th, pretty much. Most of the miners still have somewhere in the neighborhood of plus or minus 70% to the upside to get back to where they were 3 weeks ago. And, you know, if we have the same type of relief rally, I think we'll at least get back there. We might even do better than that. And that's where I try to sell options, you know, because I do hold my position. So, you know, like in the 10K challenge, I keep taking 2 steps up and 2 steps back. But, you know, ultimately, I do think those stocks, you know, I'm not getting rid of those stocks. Alex said I'm on my iPad and I don't have a join button. I did not know that, Alex. Thank you. This is brand new to me, so I will look in and see what the deal is with that. And Eric said I don't have a join button as well, so I'm going to pull it up and just show you guys what I see, and then if you guys don't see the same thing, so when I pull it up, it gives me this little get access to exclusive perks, blah, 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 blah. Got it. And then there's this little join button right here. So I'm on a PC, and that's how it looks on a PC. I have not even looked at this on a phone or on an Apple laptop. So I'm not sure. You guys can let me know. If that's not working, I'll try and get a hold of them and see what the deal is. But this should be where it is. This is just basically my channel's homepage. So let's see. Leo said, Tom, tell us a bit about yourself. What do you do for a living besides YouTube? So, I mean, my career was in, and right now George and I work together on a bunch of projects like the one that we just talked about on the live stream today. So we more have projects going on that we're trying to get them to market. We've got some to market. George has several companies he also has to deal with during the day. My background is in accounting. I was a CPA. I haven't practiced in years, so I'm not an active practicing CPA and haven't been for a long time. But that's where I started. I started at Coopers and Lybrand. They then merged into PricewaterhouseCoopers, and I left, not because they merged, just because it was time to move on and do the next thing. And then I spent a bunch of years running a construction company and real estate development, construction, all that kind of stuff. So, and then a bunch of years just in business consulting. So I spent a long time in public accounting and, made it basically through the ringer up to manager. And then the next step is partner, which was something that, first of all, there is absolutely no guarantee that you'll ever get. And second of all, I just was not interested in that. But I will say it was an unbelievable 6-year learning experience. I spent 6 years in that and just getting to see, especially working for one of the big firms, you got to see, inside and out, a lot of, some international companies, some big companies. So it was very, very good experience. You got to spend a lot of time in boardrooms and that kind of stuff. So, getting used to all that and understanding, I was making financial statements for 6 years. So that's why for me, reading them is a hobby, because that's right in my wheelhouse. So, It's something I enjoy a lot. So, I mean, I really, I'm almost obsessed. I'm mostly just researching stocks or reading financial statements. That is my hobby. I haven't read a book in a decade because I'm just reading financial statements. So if anybody knows a good book, you can drop it in the chat and let me know. Ed says, LOL, we are doing this to have 1,000 shares of HUT at $1.95. Yes. 1,000 shares of HUT, 1,000 shares of Bitfarms, 1,000 shares of whoever else you got. I can't tell you what to buy, but you guys, I think everybody at this point knows the miners that I like. I think I might have missed the boat. I was taking a very close look at Iris, stock ticker IREN. Let me get back to the chart. And, you know, they ran up 10% today. They were down a little bit. They were red yesterday on what was otherwise a green day. And I thought, you know what? If they go red 1 or 2 more days, I might start buying into that. But instead, they had a 10% up day. So I'll just wait and see if they have another pullback. Oh, it's not. Biz 101 answered them and said that is not on the app. So nothing on the iPad. All right. Thanks, Eric. So if you're on an iPad or you're on an app on the phone, it sounds like it's not on there. So I don't know if any of you guys have access to PC. And we'd also like to make sure it actually works on your phone. You know, if you're going to join it on your PC, if your phone is what you use, you want to make sure it works on your phone. So I'll try and figure that out as well. Or maybe Biz 101, you might already know the answer to that as well. The last book I read was Stephen King's It. Oh boy, well then you read, the last book you read was back when the last book I read. That book came out 30 plus years ago. So, and that was a long book. I like to read. I love to read, and I used to read books. This is a very consuming thing to really. You know, you guys see I'm trying to do 2 or 3. My goal is to do 3 videos a day, but I don't ever want to do a video that I have not thoroughly done my due diligence on. And you know, I'm giving some value. I'm trying to give value in every single video that I do. So, you know, sometimes on the weekend, if nothing happened with Bitcoin, I'll just skip a day because I'm not going to do a Bitcoin update when nothing happened. So, but in order to do that, I feel like I spend an awful lot more time prepping than most of the other YouTubers do. And I shouldn't say most of the other YouTubers. I don't know. Everybody has a different process. But there's a lot of people that just jump on and chat about what happened during the day. And, you know, there's not a lot of prep required for that. For me, if by the time I'm talking about a stock, I've read every document they have cover to cover pretty much. So, and I like that. So I'm not complaining. I'm doing that anyway. Let's see. Eric said, I've seen the join on YouTubers, so it may be settings on your end, meaning my end. So I'll check that out after the stream and see if there's some setting that I've done incorrectly. That is entirely possible. Like I said, that is brand new to me, so I will make sure and look into that and see if there's anything else I have to fix. I'm reading Another Country by James Baldwin, said Colton. Is it good? Are you liking it? So I'm sorry for anybody having trouble with the join button. I will work on that. I just started that, so I'll make sure by next week that that's all straightened out. In fact, after this live stream, I'll dig into it and see if there's anything I can do to make sure, you know, it's working wherever it will work. So does anybody else have any other thoughts or questions? How did everybody do this week? I mean, obviously, we just had 2 super green days. Was anybody buying? Was anybody selling? Colton said that the book is good. That book is Another Country. Mr. Stonk said, thoughts on new CleanSpark facility announced today. Looks like they will exceed their 5 exahash by the end of year. So yeah, I did talk a little bit about that, but I will add that point that, and I just, you know, I did their monthly update video because they had a lot of information, and then they went and bought 10,000 machines a couple of days later, and you know, now they went and bought this whole facility plus a bunch of machines. So, you know, I haven't done my total research on that one yet, but that was a big move. And I did say in my last video, it looks pretty clear at this point that 5 exahash goal, they're going to blow through. So now it's 1 day later and they've already done it. So, I mean, it's not all up and running right now, but yeah, it looks like they're going to crush that. And they have to. You know, it's going to be, I don't know how they're going to get to 22.4, I think is their goal. I mean, that's a pretty specific number. And they say they're going to do that by the end of 2023. But I will say they're the only company that's been increasing their target exahash in the year 2022. Every single one of the other Bitcoin miners has either left it the same, and there's only a few that have done that. Almost all of them have reduced or greatly reduced their targeted hash rate for the year 2022. So, and I've gone through a lot of those in different videos, but some of it's rather dramatic. You know, even Bitfarms, that is one of my favorite companies that I think is doing a great job, they were originally targeting 8 exahash, and it looks like they're going to get to 6. So, you know, to me, that's not a bad year. They started at 2. That's a triple. So that's great, but it's not 8. So, you know, it's hard, and the environment this year was brutal, and I think what all of these people did not count on is the fact that liquidity was going to dry up almost virtually 100%. I mean, this is one of the worst times to be trying to grow a business. There's no liquidity in the market right now. Nobody's putting money into these small cap high growths, and you don't want to do at the market offerings when your stock's down 90%. So, you know, some of that, if you want to do a little bit and it accomplishes a goal, I understand people are doing that a little bit here and there. And almost every one of the Bitcoin miners has an at-the-market offering open to access if necessary. And I suspect that CleanSpark is going to be accessing theirs. They have done very little dilution. They only have, I think, 40 or 50 million shares altogether. So over the course of time, they've been extremely careful with diluting their stock. But I do think, you know, if they're going to get to 22.4 exahash, you can expect some stock dilution in that process, in my opinion. Colton, what does FUD mean? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So it's just a term that's come to be used, especially in the world of crypto, but investing in general. There's just, and that's been, you know, this has been a year of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And, you know, some of those things are justified and real. Some of those things, and it's usually used in a negative connotation, some of them are just people putting things out to try to move stocks in the wrong direction, and there's, you know, not necessarily a lot of truth behind them. So, you know, you gotta, that's why you gotta do your due diligence. Just don't believe everything you read or everything you hear, and definitely just because I said it doesn't mean it's true. So, and that is true of all YouTubers. So I hope you guys all already know that. Just don't, you know, you got to make your own decisions. Martin, welcome aboard. Thank you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Look forward to it. All right, let's see. WLG said, just holding here and hoping for more relief. Well, I mean, I don't know the future, but I think that we're going to spend the next 2, 3, 4 weeks working our way up to 25,000. The one thing that could whammy that is a terrible CPI number, and or the Fed doing something unexpected, meaning raising rates a full % or more. But I don't think those are going to happen, but you don't know. And I'll tell you this, Jerome Powell is not a happy camper because he has done everything he knows how to try to make people understand, like, you know, every speech, it's like he's saying, I'm serious, guys. You know, you better believe me. And, you know, the market went down and then he stopped talking and went right back up. So I know he went home and he was pissed. Because in his mind, he's saying, yep, there you go. They didn't believe me again. So, having said that, I don't think that's going to make him change his mind or make the Fed do something different than they would have otherwise done, which I think is going to be a 75 basis point increase. That's 3 75s in a row. Those are major. That's major moves. So I would hope they'll leave it at that. Colton said, I have 801 shares of HUT 8. I'm trying to DCA my way to 1,000. Under $4. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be under $4 for a little while. So, and it's obviously been at much higher numbers than that. I'm going to go to HUT. I mean, I got to go to the daily. Yeah, I mean, it's like off the screen. Keep going. So I think that was it. So this was November 9th. So that was plus or minus the same day all these Bitcoin miners peaked. That's when Bitcoin peaked. But they were at $16. You know, and that was not back in January of 01 when every single, you know, small cap high growth company was just at some stupid number. That was, you know, most of the small cap high growths were already getting beat up. The Bitcoin miners held on and all hit highs in November. But even if you disregard all that, I mean, look at all this time they spent between just under $5 and you know, just under $8. That was a decent trading range. I mean, they're at 2-ish right now. So, you know, that's a triple or a quadruple. Just to get back to that, what I consider a very conservative price target in my, you know, my opinion. Bitfarms market cap, given everything, is the bargain. Yeah, so I mean, Bitfarms, their market cap is lower than HUT. It's lower than Hive. CleanSpark has a very low market cap as well. So we'll just look at a couple of those. And a lot of, I mean, again, a lot of these companies are still down 90%. So their market caps are just a small fraction of what they used to be. But so CleanSpark is only $226 million market cap. And if you look at their production numbers, this is why I'm focusing on CleanSpark and Bitfarms among other miners. Those aren't the only two. There's a bunch of miners I think that are doing a good job. And there's more than one different way to get where they're going. But I do think that, you know, from an operational standpoint and an efficiency and an increase in exahash, the two that just stand out for me are CleanSpark and Bitfarms. They're operationally, they are just doing a great job. I mean, I think CleanSpark had 395 Bitcoin that they mined, and now they've drastically increased their exahash. Already, it's only September 8th. And they've gone from, you know, essentially in the last 10 days from 2.9 to 3.8 exahash. I don't know how fast they're going to get. That doesn't count whatever they did today. So I don't know how fast that's going to get online. I mean, they could do 500 next month. And Bitfarms is already doing 500. I think they did 534 Bitcoin in the month of August. I mean, that was second place out of all the Bitcoin miners. So I just don't think if we all sat here at the beginning of the year, I don't think anybody would have said, hey, in August, Bitfarms is going to mine the second most amount of Bitcoin. I think that people would have had them in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. So, you know, and it's a combination of some other companies that haven't executed, some other companies that are making some changes, and Bitfarms has exceeded my expectations. So I agree, Eric. I mean, that's why I also, that's one of my major positions. Ed Mac, my vote is for a 2-a-day cap. I feel like I'll miss something when you do 3 and I can't go to them. So I do end up doing usually 2 a day. If something, like yesterday, I did a third one because all of a sudden CleanSpark bought 10,000 machines and there was a bunch of stuff in there, so it was a very specific video. So that's what I try to do. Okay, let's see. For iOS iPad users. I looked into it. If you go to Tom's page on the Chrome app and then click the 3 dots at the bottom right and click request desktop site, then it will work. Okay, so that I read that in the chat. So that's in the chat there for you guys that are on iPhone. It looks like that's an extra step or two, but there is a way to do it. So that's the answer to that question. Let's see. Voyager Digital is having an auction of assets on September. Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't know what will happen after that. I mean, that's all got to be a part of the bankruptcy that, you know, when they added the Q, was basically a new stock, which was the, you know, the company that's in reorganization. So I'm not sure how that works. I bailed. I was never in Voyager, but I was doing some videos on them, and then, you know, when it was, as far as I'm concerned, when they went bankrupt and they were illiquid, it was over. I know some people have definitely made money. It's been an incredibly volatile stock, but it's a penny. It's not even a penny. Yeah, it's a penny stock. You know what I mean? It's at 19 cents right now is what Bob is saying, and you know it's. So there's days where it's up 30%. There's days where it's down 20%. There's wild moves in there. So if you're a day trader type, then that could be a stock. But for me, I don't see the big picture of why that would be a long-term buy and hold. It seems like that's over. But if somebody has, you know, a thesis or an argument, let us know. Bob's saying there are some forecast sites that say in a few years it will be $20. So, and I assume he's talking about Voyager. So I don't know. I don't know how it gets from here to there. I don't, you know, they're not done with their bankruptcy process. The other argument is, you know what, for 19 cents a share, you buy some shares and see what happens. So I have seen other companies go through bankruptcy and come out the other side and you know, go on to thrive. But with Voyager's business model, I'm just not sure how they get there. But maybe I'm missing something. Eric's asking, how's Hut 8's market cap so high compared to Bitfarms? And the answer to that, or at least my answer to quick answer to that would be, Hut 8 has a much, much bigger balance sheet. So they're holding over 8,000 coins, Bitcoin, on their balance sheet, as well as a bunch of cash. So a lot of that literally just has to do with strength of balance sheet. So it's not so, because obviously they mine less Bitcoin than Bitfarms. Just heads up, head to head, it's not close. But if you look at their balance sheets, Hut 8's balance sheet is an A+ in my opinion. I mean, that is one of the many things I like about them. They're just a rock solid balance sheet. So I think that's why they have the higher market cap. I mean, truly, you know, unless this doesn't go the way we think any of it's going to go, all of these market caps are very low compared to what they should be. They're very low compared to what they were 8-9 months ago. But I think that's why for now, Hut retained a little more of their market cap because they do have actual physical, you know, liquid assets supporting that. Even beyond, you know, a lot of when it's property and equipment and it's long-term assets that are illiquid, a lot of times people won't hold their market cap through down cycles. But for these guys, if it's cash and cash equivalents, which really Bitcoin is, in my opinion, then, you know, they're getting credit for that. Sanity's Eclipse says, I've been in this market over 20 years. It's rare that you get NASDAQ down over 30+% and Bitcoin is trading where it was 5 years ago. If you can't see the opportunity in this, you are literally day trading. So, I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. That's the patience part of this. And I know that that's a big change that's happened in this world. Everybody's attention span, it's just the way the world works now. Our attention span is a lot smaller. We also had a hyperinflationary period in the stock market where everybody was making money, hand over fist, regardless of what they invested in, the second half of 2020 and into January and February of 2021. So for all those reasons, I think people have some very, very high expectations. I mean, you heard George, he doesn't want to invest in something if it's not a 5 or 10x. But, you better be willing to wait a little bit for that, because not everything 10x's, and, unless you're buying super high risk options, a 10x should not be a short-term expectation. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that's the zoom out approach Sanity's Eclipse is talking about. Look at the 5-year picture. This is, in the big picture, is this a good opportunity? So for him or her, I'm not sure. The answer is yes. And for me, the answer would be yes. Martin said, I joined the membership. Way worth it. Love the channel. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it. Appreciate a lot of your comments as well. I know you comment on a lot of our videos. Colton says, I'll sell my hut when it gets to $20 Canadian. So that's where it probably was Canadian, right? Because I think 16 equals 20. So I expect it to get there. But again, I don't know, is that, for me, that goes to Sanity's Eclipse point. Whether that's 9 months from now or 24 months from now, you got to be in a position where you can say, I don't care. Because in either of those scenarios, it's an absolute grand slam home run. So, that's where the patience comes in. And it's brutal because, again, like my 10K challenge is wrecked because I have stocks I'm not going to day trade out of my miners, because I have the utmost of confidence. I have 3 of them in there. I have CleanSpark, Hut, and Bitfarms. So, if anything, I have more confidence in those stocks today than I did at the beginning of the year. Now, obviously, they've had an awful year. But, for those of you who have powder or are able to dollar cost average in over time, to me, those are just opportunities. Sanity's Eclipse said, the day I sell is the day Bitcoin reaches 450K. A lot of people are underestimating how powerful BlackRock is. More powerful than Apple. When they get into a sector, they dominate it. And BlackRock is they are the big dog of all big dogs. So there's massive truth to that. And 450, so, I don't know what your time frame is, but if your time frame is 5 years or 7 years, maybe it's faster than that. I don't know, but I think everybody would be happy if right now they said, you know what, in 7 years, Bitcoin's going to be $450,000. I'd say, fine, great. So I don't think that's unrealistic. I mean, a lot of, I know people who, they're not even buying it for themselves. They're buying Bitcoin, putting it away, and saying, these will go to my kids when I pass away, because by then it's going to be worth, retirement type money. So we'll see. CleanSpark, hold 200K worth, said Johnny. Great channel. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, and CleanSpark's one of my favorites, as you guys know. Darren says, Riot will exceed expectations during the fourth quarter. No power curtailment and nearly triple the exahash explosive. So, I guess one of you guys did tell me that September is the last month of the power curtailment. So we're in September right now, and I would expect it would be a lot less than any of the other months. And then, they just got to 4.8 exahash. They said they'll be at 5.4 exahash next month. So, and, by first quarter, they're going to get to 12.5 exahash. So I think there's big numbers. But here's what I would like to see out of Riot. So I'll just tell you guys what I am specifically looking for, because they're using a lot of immersion cooling. So as soon as this curtailment business is over with and they can conduct business as usual, I'm expecting their efficiency per exahash to go way up, because right now they're actually a little bit below average even before this curtailment stuff started. So I'd like to see them get up to, 130 Bitcoin per exahash or more, depending on the difficulty level. We'll see where everybody is. But that 130 number, to me, that's highly efficient. And with their so much of what they have in immersion cooling, that's my expectation. So come November, come December, that's what I'm going to be looking for. $3.98 is my break-even point on HUT 8. So, I mean, that's, that's probably better than the average investor. So, I'm trying to think if I'm higher or lower than that. I mean, if I'm better than that, it's not by much. Mine's probably higher than that. So, most of these stocks, the one stock I got to press reset on was I got out of Riot early, so I caught the run up on Riot, and then I waited and waited and waited and got back in at the bottom. But that's just one stock. All the rest of these, I held. So, I felt the pain from wherever they were in November to wherever they are now. I'm still holding them, and, even with this nice little rally we've had, it's, they're all still down 80% or more. Could the U.S. make mining illegal? I mean, I don't see that as realistic, right? Anybody, I guess, could, who knows, would be the technical answer, but I don't see that as a scenario that's worth, for me, I'm not even considering that as a realistic scenario. There's so many steps in between now and then, and they haven't taken any of those other steps. So to go straight to, like, the most radical step possible, I don't think it's anything. It's nothing that I'm even thinking about. Bob said I had 60K in Voyager Digital, now worth maybe 700. Yeah, that is just brutal. I mean, that is brutal. And Voyager Digital was even worse than a lot of the Bitcoin miners. But a lot of people, there were people that bought, Marathon at 80 and had to deal with it at $5. I know that obviously Voyager was even worse than that as a percentage. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. Everybody in the whole Terra Luna universe, those guys got taken out and lost, they didn't even get a penny on the dollar. It's been tough. This is what I'm saying. This is one of the toughest years of investing of all time. So, I don't know, some of you are more experienced than others. Some of you have more, have been doing this longer than I have. So, you've seen a lot of stuff, but this is amongst the worst, particularly in the small cap stuff like we're looking at. Seth said he bought more CleanSpark today. I did too, Seth. Not a lot, but that is the one. I bought some options and some other stuff, but I bought some actual shares of CleanSpark today because they were, even though they were up like 6%, that was underperforming everybody else. And so far, I like what I see out of the move that they made today. I'll dig deeper into that, but I mean, they've had a busy 2 weeks, and they're on fire, in my opinion. Let's see. Nate says, HUT balance sheet, Bitfarms efficiency, or CleanSpark and its dramatic exahash growth. Going round and round to which to prioritize for limited investment capital, say for the fall of 2022. I mean, I think the most defensive position out of the three of those, the safest position, if you will, and again, you guys got to remember, this is just my opinion. It's not financial advice, but to me, HUT with their strong balance sheet is a safer bet. But I think that Bitfarms and CleanSpark, with their more aggressive growth plans, if Bitcoin does what we hope it does, that's the key factor. If Bitcoin goes down, everybody's going to wish they bought HUT. If Bitcoin rallies big time, then they're going to be glad they own Bitfarms and CleanSpark. I have all three of those. So for the reasons you just said, Nate. So I mean, my answer was I bought some of all of those. let's see. Seth said also bought ODV Gold Mine in Utah. I own no gold and I own nothing in gold mines. So I'll look at that one, Seth. I don't really know. Even the times I've looked at a few of the gold mines, I don't even remember what I looked at because I just didn't go deep enough into them to even remember them. So ODV. I'm writing it on my little cheat sheet. I'll check it out. Michael Anthony says, have you noticed CPG, which oil is trading under book value of $11.86, which is going to pay an 8-cent dividend soon? So that I'm not following that one either. CPG. So this is the stuff I love. I mean, there's stuff that I try and look at as much as I can, but obviously nobody can look at the entire market. And a lot of you guys have done deep dives and know about very good opportunities, some of which are companies I've never even heard of. So I think, you know, this is the benefit. Uh-oh, Gary said this is the new record, longest live stream Tom's ever had. Thanks for the reminder, Gary. I kind of lost track of time. I probably should wrap it up, but let me just see if I can quickly get to the end of the comments. I sold Riot at 17, thankfully, said Mark. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've bought back in yet, but there was a long way. I think they got down to like just over $4, maybe $4.02 at the bottom. So if you got out at 17, that was way below the bottom. Bitcoin ETF is BITO. That is from Michael. So I don't know if it's a Bitcoin miner ETF. BITO. I had looked at all these a while back and I didn't end up, because I individually buy, I didn't really buy into any of the ETFs, but it's definitely, I mean, if you don't have the time to do your due diligence and, you know, you're not going to be able to put your head on your pillow, then, you know, the ETFs are always a good way to go. Darren said, my timeline is 2030. Bitcoin 2x halvings and green hydrogen adoption into energy beyond what I can explain on here puts my plug around 1G per share. So I'm totally with you on this hydrogen thing, and I got in and out of hydrogen, and I haven't found a re-entry point yet, but I did catch a big run up, and then they got wrecked. So I haven't gotten back in yet, and I always feel like I don't like to press my luck. It's I don't want to call it luck, but I'm thankful and grateful when I catch a nice run up, and I got F-Cell, God, maybe a year and a half ago or more. It had dipped all the way down under $2. It was like at $1.96 or something. So I was able to buy it at that, and it ran up. I mean, that I didn't catch the whole ride up, but I caught like at least a quadruple. So where did this get to? I don't know why this looks different than it does on my screen. Okay, so yeah, so this got up to $26. So I didn't catch that, but I caught about half of that from under $2. And they had done some dilution and they went under $2 for a few days, and I'm like, I'm in, because I do believe in hydrogen. I do just think its wide-scale application is further away. So, you know, Darren's saying his timeline's 2030, so that might make sense. Yeah, and if that thing goes to 1,000, I mean, that's a grand slam home run. So maybe I got to start dollar cost averaging into some hydrogen. Which Bitcoin miner do you think is better by typing them out? Asks Michael, but I don't know what that means. Thanks. Nate says, thanks. Michael said, did you look at CPG? I did not. I will look at those offline after the stream. I wrote down an ETF and 2 companies that I'm going to check out after the stream. So I will do that. The CEO bought 1 million or more shares between $1 and $1.46. So, yeah, I mean, you always like to see that. Mark is saying, went for CleanSpark instead. Hut on the next dip. Target Riot is $6. So, I mean, that's entirely possible. Eric says, I'm holding the miners and Tellurian. Here in Europe, need the LNG from the U.S. Yeah. And there's problems all over. That's for sure. Crypto M said, Tom, which miners is a good buy as of right now? Of course, not financial advice. What's your thought? I mean, I can tell you what I bought today. I bought some CleanSpark today. So we did just have a nice 2-day run up. So, you know, some people might wait for a pullback right now. I still feel like, you know, I still feel good enough about where CleanSpark is at that I bought some of it today. And there's several other that, you know, if I wasn't already what I consider filled out in my position, I'd still be dollar cost averaging in, because we had a $2,000 jump in Bitcoin, which was awesome, but it was only to 21,000. I mean, we are very, very low still. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, most of the upside is still ahead of us, in my opinion. Darren said, Seth, Pure Metal Miners, Taseko Mining, ticker TGB. Their Arizona EPA permit is freshly issued. Copper. Take a look. Super hard year because no pandemic or Lehman Brothers or specific event that's telling me to grab some puts. I just keep thinking it's a dip until, and this is Ed who's saying this, I just keep thinking it's a dip until those margin calls started hitting me in June. Yeah, I mean, June 2022, the first 6 months of 2022, I mean, that's something people are going to remember for the rest of their investing career. And, you know, hopefully we've had a little bit of a nice relief rally in the middle, and we'll see what happens the rest of the year. But particularly the first 6 months of this year were historic. And not in the good way. Let's see. Just got home from work and was going to watch today's new videos and see the live stream and had to jump in. I appreciate all the work, said Roll A420. Well, you are welcome, and thanks, and welcome to the live stream. I think, just wrapping up here, unless anybody has any other questions, because somebody pointed out this is my longest live stream ever. So I did lose track of time, but hopefully everybody had a great conversation, and hopefully everybody made money over the last couple of days anyway. We had some nice green days, and we can feel good over the weekend. So I think I'm going to wrap it up. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, those of you who joined the channel. I appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have more people come along with us, and we'll have some fun with that. And everybody, thanks for watching the videos, and thanks for liking the videos, and it helps in the algorithm. Right now, financial views are way, way, way down on YouTube. So I do appreciate you guys watching my videos, and hopefully you get something out of them. So everybody, have a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining me on the live stream. And I'll definitely be doing, I already have some videos in mind for the weekend, so I'll be putting some stuff out this weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody.